there are all these factors that have already taken place in your life that determine what's going to make you happy. So I can't judge that. But what I can tell you is that if you're not the person that you want to be at this very moment, if you're not living the lifestyle in the place, doing the thing with the fulfillment that you desire right now, that's because you're not yet that person. You're not yet that person who can build whatever it is that you want to build. You're not yet that person who can handle the responsibility. You're not that person who can go about life owning, right, their portion of life, for taking accountability for where they are and what they say they're going to do. You have to become that person in order to receive all of the things that it is that you want. You've heard the phrase where much is given, much is required. Listen, if it's given to you today, what you're required to have in order to keep it or build it or make it for everybody else to do something good, you don't yet have that. Your only experiences of late are failure after failure after failure after failure, and you're not working on finding out what's causing the failure or what dynamic within your emotions or within your behavior is causing these failures, then you are going to feel inadequate. You're going to blame yourself for something that you can change. Okay? And you know what? It damages your relationships. When you're inadequate, you don't show up with your friends as yourself. You're trying to meet this imaginary standard that you think everybody has for you. Well, why are you letting somebody else set your standard? So you talk too much about your plans when you feel inadequate with your friends because you're trying to get up there. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to write a book, and then after I write a book, then I'm going to go back to school, and then I might do a podcast. Listen, I've been that person. I have been that person that felt inadequate, and I'm giving everybody that I hold valuable in my life the list of every plan that I have, and they're probably looking at me like, girl, you're good just how you are. We cool. Because they are going through things too. So show up as yourself. And the way that you do that is really make a plan to change some of the dynamics in your life. Because otherwise you could become isolated. Evaluating your self-worth, you start realizing that you have settled for mediocre in some areas of your life. You did. You thought they were fine. You thought these were normal levels of communication. You know how you would make excuses for yourself and think that that was acceptable? Or you would accept some other person's default communication in your relationship. You just accepted it. Well, that's just how it is. And I'm just going to accept it. You now begin to understand that ambition is a solo journey. Your desires are a solo journey. The more you evaluate your self-worth, the more you desire a better way of living. And other people might not get it. When you do better, you have a desire for better things, higher quality. And that's in relationship, that's in communication, that is in the place you live, the places you go, how you eat, how you dress, your entertainment. All of those things are better because you have more exposure and more access. The things that you want and consider better are relative to your past experiences. So if you've never experienced anything at the level where you want to be, I think you need to try to get a peek into the room. Sample. If you come into situations and you're always negative, some people are not even going to want to be bothered with you because negative self-talk or negative talk, period, doesn't help anything. And it brings the room down and it zaps energy from the person you're talking to, and it just perpetuates negativity and bad outcomes. And another way that you can show up that actually helps to foster poor communication and cause conflict is if you're passive. You better learn to stick up for yourself. No one can read your mind. So being passive doesn't get you what you want. It doesn't even add value to relationships because the people in relationships are not getting the authentic you, the real you, the whole you. So if you're passive, then you know what? You may as well as not even show up because you're not bringing anything, okay? And what's even worse than being passive is being passive aggressive. That means not only are you not participating, not adding value, you're also trying to throw something in the mix to make things worse. Instead of communicating effectively, you do little things to hope that someone gets that you're upset or hope that someone sees that they need to do something for you. Listen, closed mouths don't get fed, and no one can read your mind. Comparing yourself can send you down a rabbit hole of working at places you have no business working, or engaging with people you have no business engaging with. You weren't even meant to meet certain people, and now they have impacted your life because they impact your thinking and impact your behavior because they're part of your environment. That's why it wasn't until I decided that what other people do or what other people have has nothing to do with me. And then here's the most important thing that I promised myself. I will only compare myself to myself of the past. That's it. I will only compare myself to myself of the past. Not this person over here, not someone on television, not someone on social media. The only person that I need to compare myself is the person that I was yesterday, or the person that I was last month, last quarter, last year, a decade ago. I need to compare who I was before to where I am now, and that's going to track my success, not how I stack up to somebody who is faking in the first place or not sharing all of the information that's going on with them. You got to know that, right? That what you see about other people is just what they allow you to see. So you comparing yourself to someone else, you're not comparing yourself to a full picture. So you may as well only compare yourself to something that you know about. And maybe your garden consists of more time with your family or more intimate time with your mate. You have to design your garden, and it just doesn't haphazardly start growing, because otherwise you're going to get weeds. Okay, so you have to determine, what do you want your life to look like right now? I know that we always talk about a future plan. How do you want your future to look? What do you want to do in the future? How do you want to live in the future? But right now is where we are. The future is going to come. I get that. But right now is where things need to be addressed so that you can become the person who can do what you want to do in the future. Because right now, you're not that person who can do that. As quiet as it's kept, you got some work to do before you can become the person who can do that thing you dreamed of, because you have too much interference and chaos in your life. You are growing a field of dreams that includes weeds, okay? So you have to prioritize the excavation of your land. You have to prioritize the work that it's going to take to pull those weeds out, to tumble the soil, to make sure that you get any insects or things that don't belong in that soil that are not conducive to growing the things that you want to grow. You have to make sure that they are addressed.